live in Scotland under the SNP. So I'd want to die if I was in Scotland right now. However, it's all about the devil's in the detail about this sort of stuff. Assisted dying, it didn't come around just because people want to die earlier. It came about because people, modern medicine's got us to a point that we can diagnose now when people are going to die with terminal illnesses, that we can tell them it's not going to be particularly pleasant. And, perhaps it's a good idea. Perhaps it's a very personal choice, and in that situation, you want to take yourself off somewhere, you want to have a little bit of a party with your friends, and you want to say goodbye. Where it gets tricky is like it has done in Canada, where there are people who have had a couple of sad days, and then they go for advice, and they're told, have you considered this as an option, which is topping yourself off? And that's when it's not good, So I think the reason that so many people, and there were 651 people polled, I can understand. I'd imagine if we were all told we were going to die sometime soon of some terrible illness, we'd look for a way out as well, maybe to try and avoid it. So I can understand why they voted for it, but the detail's in the devil.
I got an email today telling me who was on the show, and for a second there. The devil's in the detail, but in the detail it actually says this policy, this proposal would be you need 2 doctors to verify that you are of sound mind and that the diagnosis is valid and that you are not pressured. So that kind of takes out the Canadian worry.
No, first of all, the devil isn't in the detail. This is the devil. You don't kill people. This is part of that big war between Team World that wants us dead and Team Britain or Team USA, which wants us to thrive. There's an old joke, an old Jewish joke, where a guy goes to the doctor and the doctor says to him, sir, I'm sorry to tell you, you've got a terminal illness, you've got 6 months to live. Would you mind if I ask you what you would do, what are you planning on doing in the last 6 months of your life? And the Jewish guy says, I'm going to go to another doctor and get another opinion. That's...
If we look at it, because these stories are really easy to think about killing other people, but do you think about yourself? If you were in a situation where you thought you had years of suffering, would you want to have the right to do something about it when physically you might not be able to?
I would vote the way that the majority of people have done in this. I would, if there is... Why suffer if you don't have to? If you're going to, there are some terrible diseases out there that can. We've all been, we've all been subject to it through grandparents and parents and things. I'm thinking of things like dementia or something where you just. I mean, dementia's not a good idea actually.
You have a rich.
Because the idea, because somebody's got to make a decision on your point. Forget I said anything.
I should point out you did say why suffer needlessly just as they cut to your Twitter address, which I think was great.